right, guys, welcome back to Downtown Rams. As always, I'm Alexis Kraft, joined here with my co-host Jake Ellenbogen, and we are coming to you in the first week of the NFL. Season kicks off tomorrow night. We're recording this the day before the first Thursday night football game of the season. And Jake, it is very exciting to be back in the full swing of things with the NFL. I know when I woke up, there was a chill in the air this morning. It was 40 degrees, and I thought, it's really here. It's September. Football's starting. I ordered an ungodly amount of pumpkin and fall themed candles that are supposed to actually arrive tomorrow. Just ludicrous amounts of pumpkin and vanilla and cinnamon that are going to be ruminating my house. I bought like floating candles to hang from my wall that give the appearance of like the Harry Potter floating candles. Very big into spooky season over here. And
I vibe with
football's
that.
just football's just another amazing aspect of fall for me and so many of us. And I know everybody listening to this show is excited to watch the Rams play on Sundays. So very exciting. And speaking of the Rams, Jake, the reason for this episode is that we are going to be giving 3 bold predictions, each of us, for the Rams this season. And longtime listeners know that when it comes to this, Jake and I have very different personalities. Like I'm sitting over here, my bold predictions are like nowhere near as bold as Jake's. I'm a little bit what's the word I'm looking for, Jake? I'm like, well, I think that this is a safe option. Also, both of us were talking about before the show, so many people have been giving their bold predictions that we don't want to pick any of them. And I know that you've also already given some, so you don't want to reuse those. So we're maybe setting ourselves up for some unusual picks, but I'm excited to hear what you pick, and I'll let you go first.
So I don't know which one to start off with.
What a long-winded intro.
Hey, don't worry. I do it all the time because I'm used to
just
just staring at a camera talking. So, when we do the show, it gives me a little bit of a breather, reminds me, hey, you
have
yap a
fun.
lot. You can chill out a little bit.
That's my problem. I'm a yapper.
Well, I am too.
And yeah.
That's why we're talking like we have a podcast that's on episode 534. That's what happens when you're a yapper.
Well, right. And I was yapping before the show to you about like sorting through my bold predictions. Basically yapped to you for 10 minutes about like how I don't think they're bold enough, but everybody else said this and and you're just like, just pick them. Like nobody like, so I was just gonna make mine a little weird. I mean, I don't.
Yeah, I mean, I don't know. Let's get freaky, right? First one.
Let's do it.
First one. We're gonna start off with the Rams offense because I practically almost forgot about them when I was doing my 3 bold predictions this year. This is a big one. Now, the Rams offense last year, people remember it as explosive because they remember what you did in the last 8 games more than they remember what you did in the first 8 games. But also, they also remember week 1. So, in between that, maybe not so much, but week 1, everyone remembers, well, at least most people remember, the Rams going to Seattle and kicking the crap out of them with a unknown 5th round rookie Puka Nacua and a widely regarded bust wide receiver in Tutu Atwell. They both went over 100 yards in that game. Kyren Williams, the guy that was, not fast enough or strong enough or tall enough or whatever fantasy Twitter and NFL draft Twitter wanted to say, he had 2 touchdowns in that game. Hell, even Cam Akers had a touchdown in that game. Well,
Whoa.
What ended up happening, I know. What ended up happening is, the Rams would eventually lose Kyren Williams after finding that Kyren Williams was really good, and they would lose him, and they would go 1-4 in those games without him. So then we started to see towards the end of the year what this offense could be. Now, Alexis, you might not know this. Actually, you probably do because I think I sent you this tweet. But if you don't remember, 387. That is the number of snaps that Matthew Stafford, Kyren Williams, Puka Nacua, and Cooper Kupp played last year. In those 387, mind you, big caveat here, I don't think Cooper Kupp was even 50% healthy most of the year. But in that quad averaged more yards per play than any quad in the league. And that's a big deal because what do they say over in San Francisco? Brock Purdy's playing with the Avengers. He's got, Ayuk and Kittle and Christian McCaffrey and, Debo. But somehow the Rams quad had more yards per play, albeit only, not even 400, snaps together, 400 plays, but they had more yards per play than anybody. So now you go into 2024. You have a new and improved looking offense. It is not that new. That's also a good thing. Matthew Stafford in year 4 of Sean McVay's offense. Kyron Williams gets to prepare the season as the guy. Last year, he was in a battle with Cam Akers to get playing time. Now, we knew Kyron Williams was going to likely surpass Akers because he can stay on the field longer because he's not a liability in pass protection. But Kyron Williams didn't know, and we obviously didn't know, it was going to go the way it did last year. So now you fast forward to this year, mentioned the familiarity factor with Matthew Stafford and how, if anybody thought that, he was showing signs of decline, go back and watch that game against the Lions. That was one of the best games all year by a quarterback. So you have him. You got Kyron Williams, who was number 2, in my opinion, in the league, only behind Christian McCaffrey, was 3rd in rushing despite missing, 6 games? So that's kind of a big deal. So you have him. You got Blake Corum, who's going to allow you to take Kyron off the field, not just keep him out there, have him play 97% snaps and basically die on the field. It's going to give him a breather, which I think a lot of fantasy football people look at this as like, it's going to take away from Kyron Williams' usage. No. It's going to maximize Kyron Williams' usage because now he's going to be able to have a breather and the offense will still be able to run the way it wants to run. And that is a great thing because when Kyron comes back on the field after a Blake Corum 5-yard run where he throws a little shoulder or what have you, little power displayed, Kyron's going to hit him right back. And it's going to be a problem. If they do this the right way, that run game is going to be an absolute problem. Now, in addition to that, Alexis, not only are we talking about year 4 for Stafford in the offense, not only are we talking about Kyron Williams and Blake Corum, we're also talking about the receivers. Puka Nacua goes into year 2. There could not be any more confidence in Puka Nacua right now among the league because when it comes to Puka Nacua, this is somebody that played all 18 games last year. Yeah, he was banged up. Guys get banged up. He played all 18 games last year. He was a model of consistency. And furthermore, this is somebody that does everything. He does all the little things. He can win on the outside, the inside. He can win with obvious, route running ability. He's got great natural hands, but he can also help you so much so in the run game as a blocker that he's practically like a tight end out there. And it allows you to be flexible in how you utilize the offense. Now, that's not even including Cooper Kupp. We talked about Cooper Kupp. I said, I don't think he was in even 50% healthy most of last year, right? So Cooper Kupp, I think this year, we've already seen the taglines and everything, quote unquote, he's all the way back, right? That's a great thing to hear. So if Cooper Kupp's all the way back and everything I just mentioned, you got Tutu Atwell who can stretch the field. And I still think he's a starting caliber receiver, just not really getting that opportunity. Demarcus Robinson, the way he came on at the end of last season. You got Tyler Higbee, who's going to sit on the PUP list, but will be an asset down the line. You have Colby Parkinson, who they held completely out of training camp, preseason, because they're that believing of his ability. They signed him to a 3-year deal. He's going to help as a blocker, but you and I, going back to when he was at Stanford, know he can also help as a receiver. In addition to that, Alexis, the offensive line is going to be much better this year. They decided, hey, we need to have a backup plan in case things go south and we can't bring back Kevin Dotson. So what did they do? They had a backup plan. They watched film. They found that they really liked that guy out of the Detroit Lions organization. That was Jonah Jackson. They fell in love with Jonah Jackson so much so after they already came to an agreement with Kevin Dotson before free agency kicked off, they went all out to get Jonah Jackson as well. So, Alexis, we've talked about before in a little bit different context. You don't want to fall into your backup plan. Well, they literally just wanted the backup plan with the main plan. So that's what happened there. You have Steve Avila going into his second season. I didn't even mention Kevin Dotson had a great season with the Rams last year. Alec Jackson suspended. Get that. Totally understand that, but he'll be back. Joe Noteboom, Logan Bruss took a huge step forward. Rob Havenstein, while he's a little banged up right now, one of the better right tackles in football. The point I'm getting at here, Alexis, is this offense is going to be leaps and bounds better than last year. This offense is going to eclipse 30 points per game. That is my bold prediction here. Number one, long intro. I get it, but we had to kick it off strong. 30 points per game. Now, understand this. This has not been done since 2021. I know that sounds crazy, right? Even the Chiefs did not get to 30 points per game. The Rams haven't done it consistently. They did it, I believe, back in 2017 and 2018. The Super Bowl season, they did not do it. So I think this offense will be better than the year they won the Super Bowl.
Speechless. I mean, I actually like it. I could see it happening.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm trying to give some like insightful analysis to that because I agree with you that this offense is going to be very, very good. Wouldn't surprise me if they were better than that year, but it is a bold prediction, like you said. But listen, it makes sense. You've got guys on this team, like Cooper Kupp, right? Back fully healthy. You've got Puka Nacua, who had an amazing season last season. You've got Kyron Williams, who did what he did. You're bringing in Blake Corum, who's a very good player. So, I think that the expectation is high for these guys, as it should be. I mean, Matthew Stafford, at the helm at quarterback. So, I don't think that it's out of the realm of possibility that you could see another insane high scoring offense from this Rams team. I think it's very possible. So, because you just did offense, I'll go with my first offensive prediction for the Rams. And again, maybe people don't think this is bold enough, but I'm saying Cooper Kupp 1,500 yards receiving. I think he's going to have a really good year. All right. We hear this argument from so many people, Rams fans and non-Rams fans alike. Who's going to be the wide receiver one on the Rams? Is it going to be Kupp? Is it going to be Puka Nacua? Listen, I'm not discrediting what Puka Nacua did last season at all. It was incredible. It was insane. I think he is a top receiver in this league already going into his second year. But when Cooper Kupp is fully healthy, he's unstoppable, in my opinion. You and I have had this conversation. I think, he is insane. He had the Triple Crown season not too long ago. People forget that. When talking about Cooper Kupp, I see when he's, in these like fantasy rankings or whatever, he's like super low. I think I did one last night. He was like 45th overall on Yahoo.
Take that to the bank all day.
What I was like, what's going on here? I think people forget what a healthy Cooper Kupp can do. So, I think that he is back with a vengeance. Everything that you and I have heard is that he is very determined. He is lighting it up in camp. He is healthy. He's ready to go. And I did not forget about that electric connection with him and Matthew Stafford. I think it is going to be back in full force. Does not take away from Stafford's newfound connection with Puka Nacua at all. I think they're both going to have very good seasons. But I do think that Cooper Kupp is going to go for 1,500 yards. Some people might say that's not bold enough. I think it's pretty bold. I know Jake is over here like not bold enough, but I think it is, and I think the year he won the Triple Crown, he went for 2,000 yards receiving, right? I do think the addition of Puka Nacua is probably, assuming they both stay healthy. I don't foresee Cooper Kupp going for 2,000 yards again. That would be insane if he did, but I think that he's going to have a really good year. And I think 1,500 yards is really reasonable. And I know we're supposed to go bold, but I'm going reasonably bold, Jake.
I would say that's bold.
1,500 yards.
He didn't even have 800 last year. Was coming off an injury. Did not look good in the playoff game. Some people were saying in the offseason they should trade him. I don't think it's bold. I mean, I think it's bold. I don't think it's not bold. You know what I mean? Like,
it's like it's bold and it's not, because like I said, I think people are like sleeping on our guy Cooper. Like it's almost, it is disrespectful, but in a way I'm kind of like, let them.
it's about as realistic as saying the Rams offense will clip 30 points per game. Like I truly think it's on that level. Like I think it's realistic. I think it can happen.
Mm-hmm.
If it doesn't happen, will I be shocked? No, but I think it's going to happen. I think both of what we're, because I mean, you know, I've already said it before, it won't be part of this bold prediction thing, but I said that both Kupp and Nakua will go over 1,500 yards. That's been like my big bold thing. So I had to make a different claim there. So we move on. We just hit on the offense. So I'm going to just, fair warning here. The rest of mine are defensive, because I think this defense is not getting enough love going into week 1 and beyond. And I get it. There's a lot of unknowns. There's a lot of question marks. There's a lot of unprovens. But, one thing I think we can all say is you and I were high on the Rams last year, did not buy into the hype with other people saying, well, I don't know who this is. Well, all that tells me is that you don't know much about ball. Because if you don't know who Ernest Jones is last year, man in the middle, if you didn't know who, Kobe Turner was, and you claim to have done your homework in the draft, and he was a 3rd round pick, he was picked on day 2, I don't think you know ball. So I'm just going to give it to him straight. Like when I hear that, it doesn't come off the way you think. And I've seen people say that multiple times about this defense. And I'm like, why would you put that on the internet? Like, do you have no shame? Like, let's be honest here, okay? This isn't just a bunch of no-name guys. I mean, even to the point, you could say what you will about Christian Roseman. Troy Reader started in the Super Bowl. Like, he's not a no-name guy. He might not be your favorite, but he started against the Bengals in the Super Bowl. Tre'Davious White's a former All-Pro. Darius Williams has been one of the better cornerbacks the last few years, right? Cameron Curl's the star. Probably the only reason you would turn on the Washington defense to watch Cameron Curl. Like, it just cracks me up. If you don't know who Quentin Lake is, I'll give you that. Quentin Lake is about to take the next step, right? Totally understand that. Bobby Brown, you probably didn't see the Trevor Wallace bit. It was funny. I understand if you don't know Bobby Brown. Sorry, Bobby. Bobby's my guy. I understand if you don't and you're not a Rams fan. Totally get that. But it just cracks me up, Alexis, because on Twitter, when I posted that I thought the Rams would win 13 games, which is not going to be a bold prediction because I've already made that clear on this channel, 13-4, people came back and said the defense. Well, the Rams had like the 16th rated defense the year they won the Super Bowl, lest we forget. But in addition to that, you told me this last year. You said I can only name a few guys on the Rams defense. That doesn't mean that they're bad. That just means that that's on you. That's a you problem, not a Rams problem. So, with that said,
I thought you were talking about me, like when you made your hand gesture. I was like, when did I say that?
No. I wouldn't call you out like that. I'd be like Alexis before I know. Yeah, I wouldn't. Yeah. You, that person that I've done over 500 episodes with, no respect. No. So the point I'm making here is that the Rams defense is not going to be the best in the league. They're also not going to be the worst. And they're not ass or cheeks or whatever the hell you want to call it on Twitter because it looks cool to you. They're actually a defense that has a lot of potential. And when people want to say, well, they have a rookie defensive coordinator. Yeah, but did you know anything about him before he was hired? If you didn't, quiet. Chris Shula has been around some of the best defensive minds that you can imagine. Brandon Staley had the number 1 defense, arguably one of the greatest defenses in this franchise's history. Okay. And he was around him. He was also around Wade Phillips, who is an absolute legend in the industry, and Raheem Morris, who won a Super Bowl with his defense. So, miss me with all that. Chris Shula has been around some of the best. He is taking bits and pieces of that, and he's creating his own defense, which I admire and I'm excited for. And I think that, they drafted extremely well. And so that leads me to this. Do I think they're a lockdown defense? No, Alexis. I don't think they're a lockdown defense. I think they're a bend don't break defense, but I don't think in the same way Raheem Morris's defense was. I think this is going to be a bend don't break in a sense. When you get to the red zone, they don't break, but they're not trying. They're not going to give you a bunch of real estate. They're not going to play crazy cushions and what have you. What I think we're getting out of this defense is this. I think this is going to be one of the more opportunistic defenses in the league. I think we're going to see a lot of turnovers. And I think at the end of the day, the Rams are going to finish with the most takeaways this season in the Sean McVay era of all defenses. And that's saying a lot. I think they get 31 or more, beating out 2018. That is my bold prediction. I think they're going to have guys that can obviously force some strip sacks. You talk about, obviously Braden Fisk and Jared Verse, but Byron Young, that speed off the edge, Kobe Turner, Bobby Brown, right? Then you have linebackers that can make plays. I understand people have an issue with Troy Reeder. I get that. People also forget Reeder's never put in position the way Ernest Jones was last year. Ernest Jones had the most pressures in that game against the Lions in the playoffs. He had quite a few sacks. He was the best blitzing linebacker. If they use Troy Reeder like that, go back to the Washington game in 2020, I think it was, guess what? He had 3 sacks in that game as a blitzer. So maybe they know something we don't, or I just spilled the beans there. And Troy Reeder is going to be used as a blitzing guy, and that's going to help them. But I also think the turnover opportunity is there with Kobe Durant, who led his rookie year. He led the league despite not playing the whole season in interception return yardage. Showed potential stardom there, right? Down year in year 2. Can he come back in year 3? We'll see. Tre'Davious White, Darius Williams. They got some ball hawks in the secondary. I think John Johnson and his ball hawking ability is underrated. Cameron Kinchins, we know, is a ball hawk from his days at Miami U. So I think they have a lot of guys that can force turnovers, obviously through the air, but I think they're going to be able to put the ball on the ground too and also hop on it. So I'm going to say 31 or more, and they're going to beat out the Sean McVay 2018 Rams team that went to the Super Bowl.
I love it. Love to hear it. I'm going to go defense as well with my next prediction. And this might not be a surprise to people who watch our draft stream, because they know that I like this guy a lot. I talked about him a lot as well when we were doing some mock drafts and some coverage before the NFL draft as well, but particularly during the draft. This is who I wanted the Rams to draft in the first round from the get-go, and I got my wish when they drafted Jared Verse. So my prediction is that Jared Verse will be the rookie sack leader next year. And I really genuinely believe that this is realistic for him. I'm a very big fan of him. I have a lot of belief in him, as I believe the Rams do. I mean, you look at what he did in college. I mean, 18 sacks over his time at Florida State. And of course, before he was at Florida State, he was at, in your neck of the woods, Jake, at UAlbany. But just looking at his time playing at Florida State, where most people know him from, had quite a few sacks there, absolute beast coming off of the edge. And I think that he is going to be aided by all of the beef that we now have in the interior defensive line for the Rams. So Jared Verse is going to get a lot of favorable matchups because you have guys like Kobe Turner and Bobby Brown and Braden Fisk and amongst others in the interior defensive line. So he's going to have, I think, a lot of one-on-one opportunities. A lot of those matchups, I think he's going to win. And it's also going to help that he's got Byron Young on the other side. You got to deal with Byron Young too. And now you got to deal with Jared Verse. And I think that he is going to feast this season. I really do. I have a lot of belief in him. So I think he's going to be the rookie sack leader. And I think that he is going to surprise a lot of people because he was, I think, the 4th or 5th, edge guy, right? Taken in the first round. Wasn't a top pick. So a lot of people might be sleeping on him a little bit. And I don't feel like I see Jared Verse being talked about a lot. For all of you people who like to bet, it's pretty good odds for Jared Verse for Defensive Player of the Year as well. So Yeah, I feel really confident about him going into the season. So that's my next bold prediction is that Jared Verse will be the rookie sack leader.
I like it. And the reason why I like it is because I do think it is bold. Laiatu Latu was the first edge defender taken at pick 15. Okay. So right off the rip, he should be considered one of the favorites. In addition to that, Dallas Turner went 2 picks after that. Okay. Edge, right? For Minnesota. I mean, Minnesota might not have much of an offense this year with Sam Darnold, but they're going to have a pretty good defense. And Dallas Turner is going to get after the quarterback. Even before that, though, can't forget about a guy in the division, Byron Murphy II. This is somebody that people are already trying to make out to be the next Aaron Donald. He is nowhere near Aaron Donald, in my opinion, but he's a good player. He is a very good player, and I can tell you the Rams wanted him. That's for sure. But Jared Verse and also Chop Robinson went 21st. There's a lot of edge defenders and pass rushers all over. So by you saying he's going to be the rookie sack, leader, I mean, you're essentially saying he'll have more sacks than Chop. He'll have more sacks than Dallas Turner and Byron Murphy and Laiatu Latu. And that's bold. I mean, all those guys are talented. So it's not to say, obviously, it's not to say that, these guys aren't good or anything like that. Or it's not to say also that Jared Verse, this would be a shock, because it wouldn't be a shock. I mean, I think a lot of people like him, but it is somewhat bold because you're going up against the grain, knowing that he was like the 4th pass rusher taken. So, yeah, I mean, I like that. And I'll say
confident.
this to back you up here on Verse. The Rams were a Jared Verse away last year from winning the Super Bowl. I feel that way. I really do. I feel like they needed one more guy that could close out the game. I mean, then again, if Rolstad doesn't referee that game against the Lions, who knows? But I had to bring that up. But no, I think if you put Verse on the outside, and I always say this, having Donald last year, the biggest issue was that you didn't have a closer, right? You didn't have and I'm not saying Leonard Floyd was the best, but you didn't have a Leonard Floyd. You didn't have a Von Miller. You didn't have a guy coming off the edge that could finish. And Byron Young, and while he had a very good rookie year, was very top heavy in that he started off the year very hot. And then as the season went on, he started to hit a wall, it happens. I get it. And you have Kobe Turner, but Kobe Turner wasn't that edge presence. He was the interior presence. So I really feel like if they had Jared Verse in the playoffs, I know it sounds funny. Well, if they had a 1st round pick in the playoffs, they would have. Yeah. But I truly believe it's not just a statement about last year's team. I think it's really more so a statement about this year's team. I understand Donald's gone, but I think Verse is going to be huge for this team because he can win with speed to power. He can win with speed. He can win with just straight up power. He's got multiple maneuvers he can use. I think that work ethic is all going to pan out. And there's a reason why, he went from playing football in my backyard to being a starting edge defender for the Rams without seeing a lick of preseason. I'm very excited for Jared Verse. So
yeah, I am too. And I agree. That's a good point when you talk about last year and being an edge defender away. I mean, one of the takeaways we had from the Lions game is just pressuring the quarterback. And it was
absolutely.
It was a problem for them all season, but I mean, obviously in a playoff game, everything is highlighted way more. And I agree with you. I just think last year we had to pressure the quarterback. I mean, we just really struggled with it. And I think that Jared Verse is going to be loud this season.
He is.
Yeah.
No, I'm very excited for that. I do think, kind of talking real quick about the Lions game, just seeing what I've seen, I feel like the Lions have already been given the moniker of they have the best offensive line and the Rams are unproven. Don't look at Jared Verse and Braden Fisk as just rookies, because if they were just rookies, and understand what I mean by that when I say just rookies are guys essentially, yeah, they're rookies, but they're guys that are playing, but they're not going to make that much of an impact. You won't really notice them. They won't be big time players. These are big time players. There's a reason why this team drafted those two. There's a reason, despite what people think, why they traded up to get Braden Fisk. You can say what you will and say the Rams have missed on this, this, and this, but I can tell you when it comes to the draft, they normally know what they're doing, especially recently, since they've really changed their draft approach, if you will. So I think Jared Verse, I understand it's a tough matchup against, Decker, but I think Jared Verse is going to win that. And I still think, like, even though it sounds crazy, I think Braden Fisk is going to have more success than Aaron Donald did last year in the playoffs. I do. I really believe that. And I think a lot of it comes down to the fact that he's not going to get triple teamed, obviously. But I think that it's going to allow the Rams to essentially try different things. It's forcing the Rams, not having Aaron Donald is forcing the Rams defense to be creative. It's forcing them to be something they haven't been since long before Sean McVay entered this organization. That is why I'm so excited, because I'm not excited to not have the greatest player ever, but I'm excited to see what the next chapter is. And I think they really they understood the assignment. They took this very seriously. And so the first two picks they made were two guys that would address a giant hole in the defense in losing Aaron Donald. And with that said, one of the guys that they picked that I've mentioned multiple times now, Braden Fisk, my bold prediction is he's going to barely inch out Jared Verse for the Defensive Rookie of the Year award.
There you go.
I think when it comes down to it, I think he's going to end up breaking Kobe Turner's sack record that I think he broke from Aaron Donald. So his rookie year sack record for an interior defensive lineman. I think Fisk is going to be somebody that people over evaluate. Okay. What I mean by this is if you look at his pressures last year, he wasn't among the top guys. His college production isn't as great as you would expect. He just feels to me like somebody that's going to come in the NFL and it's just going to be like that to him. He's just going to get it. And already hearing what I've heard from people about the offensive line and how good the offensive line looked in preseason and how good they've looked at times, they struggle against Braden Fisk. And Jared Verse also gives them fits too, but Braden Fisk was blowing up offensive plays. And now I wasn't there, so this is just coming from another, mouth, essentially, someone that's telling me this. But it does matter. And I mean, let's not forget, they would literally give Aaron Donald days off. They'd give him plays off in practice just so they could run a specific play because Aaron Donald would keep wrecking it. So I really do believe it's going to be neck and neck, but I think when it's all said and done, I think Braden Fisk is going to end up with the defensive rookie of the year. And I think, regardless who the better player is at the end of the road, I think both of these guys are going to be in horns for quite a while. I think they both get deals. And I am just super excited for the next era, this new era of Rams football post Aaron Donald, because, it's sad to not see 99, but it's the same way. Like, it's sad to lose games. And Sean McVay wasn't happy last year losing all those games. But what did he constantly bring up in his show after the games? He would say, I'm excited about the challenge that awaits. I'm excited to tackle the next game. I'm excited to prepare for whoever. That's how I look at it. So I think Braden Fisk is going to end up being a home run pick as well as Jared Verse. But I think the thing that will have the Rams feeling the best is not staying at pick 19 and picking arguably the best player available. No. The thing that will make the Rams get the last laugh is them making a very drastic move in the second round, giving up a second round pick next year to secure the trade up to get Braden Fisk. And I think it's going to end up paying out. And I mean, it's going to pay great dividends. So I'm excited for it. He's my defense rookie of the year.
Well, I love Braden Fisk. And
you do.
He was who I wanted the Rams to target in the second round. I had got very lucky this past draft for the Rams for the first and second round at least, getting who I wanted. And Braden, yeah, I mean, I think he's going to be a problem. I think this entire Rams defensive front is going to be a problem, and I think people are sleeping if they think otherwise. I'm very excited, as you said, to see this new era for the Rams. But all right, should I do my well, now I'm going to do my weird one, which you might, I think I did mention to you. I just
Let's
wanted
get
to do one of
freaky.
these. Yeah, I just wanted to do like it's not even like crazy bold, but it's like just weird. But my third third prediction is that Joshua Carty will not miss an extra point the entire season. The reason that shouldn't be that bold theoretically,
I
but
mean,
Rams
he missed
fans
one
were
in
so
preseason, so I would
he
say it's bold.
did. He did, and Rams fans are so traumatized. We're so traumatized, I think, ever since we lost Greg the Leg. Like, I mean, Matt Gay was good, but we've had some very scary moments at kicker. But
Yeah, just a
you
little
and
bit.
I really loved what we heard about Joshua Carty. We weren't going to pretend to like scout him or anything. I mean, but based off people who know what they're talking about, Joshua Carty, we were really big fans of him.
Best
The
kicker in the
Rams,
draft.
yep, Rams drafted him, and I have faith. So there really is no analysis that even goes into this bold prediction other than blind faith and optimism, because I just wanted to do like a little fun one. But I do think that I could see this happening. He's not going to miss an extra point in the entire season, and if that happens, I want it on a t-shirt.
It's fun. Now you know it'll be the extra point to like tie the game. Like they'll score the game like tying touchdown
Yeah.
this Sunday, and he'll like not even shank it. He'll hit it so hard off the uprights like Sam Sloman did that it will echo.
I listen,
Oh, you jinxed him. No, I'm kidding.
I so badly just want to have a really solid franchise kicker that we can all root for,
It's
and I'm
Josh Carty. I'm
manifesting
telling
it.
you.
I
I'm
know. I'm
telling you.
manifesting it.
Yeah.
I'm not. I'm putting all my cards on the table. I think he's gonna have a stellar season. I think he's gonna be rock solid. And if I'm wrong, it's his fault, not mine.
Yeah. Well, Cardi B, we're
Yeah,
counting on you. So, um,
I
do you
had
have
to do. I
anything
just said
else? I
when
mean, I think that's
I don't. I'm surprised I still have a voice. I told you. So like I am fighting something per usual. It's not COVID. I was negative for COVID,
hmm,
so that's good.
that's good.
Um, but yeah, it's the
Yeah.
one downfall about fall.
Yeah, and you mentioned like the cold, and I couldn't even like fake smile. I'm like,
I
I I
know.
I hate that. I mean, I also well, I mean, you know too, because you live in Chicago. I mean, you live
Hmm.
near Chicago. I live in New York, so it's like this time of year. This is literally like the last hurrah. Like you get summer weather for like a week, and then it's just going to be like terrible. So
It was like really nice out today though. Like it was genuinely really nice out today, but I just couldn't even like I just woke up with like just in my sinuses and I was like, "Oh, it's the one downfall about it's like losing my voice today, but it's fine now." I don't sound maybe the best, but I have my voice. We made our predictions, Jake, and we will be back later this week, guys, with a preview episode, first of the season, and guys, our schedule for the season. We are dropping episodes on Monday and Friday nights. So you could start your work week with us and end your work week with us.
this is
Uh,
true.
we we have our preview episodes on Friday nights. And then we have our recap episodes on Monday nights. And obviously, if the Rams play Thursday or Monday, those will change by a day.
Mhm.
But yeah, twice a week,
We
ready for the
saw
season.
that one review in our I don't know if Alexis saw it. I had just seen it because I looked at our reviews the other day for no reason on the podcast app, Apple Podcasts, and I saw
Yeah,
I love this show, but I wish Jake and Alexis would go more than once a week. That's
I
the
know.
bummer. And I'm like, they're gonna like this. Well, I don't know. Hopefully they're still watching. It was a while ago. Like the review was from like 2 years ago, but
Yeah, because
um
last year we did the twice a week. But
Yes.
we do we will be going twice a week in the season. We definitely don't do it in the off season. But
And
yeah,
if you made it to this point in the video, because Gary and I do this on Yankees Unloaded. He drops like a movie or whatever. I drop a movie to just for the people that actually made it to this part. That like it just lets us know how far you watch. If you made it to this point in the video, drop your favorite Ram in the comment section below.
I love them all equally.
That's
a lie.
That was determined to be a lie. The lie detector said that was a lie.
Who do you all think my favorite Ram
Kyra
is?
Williams.
Yeah, everybody knows that.
I'm not even going to let you finish that because everyone knows it's Kyra Williams.
Special place in my heart. He is. Oh my God. And when we talk about, when we do our preview on Friday, sorry, I'm like trying to get this out, but like I can tell that my voice is going to go in like 5 minutes. When we do our preview episode on Friday, the Rams have now another running back from St. Louis on their team.
Cody Schrader. I'm going to keep calling him Corey Schrader, though. I know it's going to happen. And by the way, Corey Schrader, no, it was Corey Schneider, the goalie for the Devils.
Sure.
I can't do that.
I believe you. I don't know anything about hockey.
Yeah. Well, he used to live in like near like my old neck of the woods. A lot of people don't know this, but I did at one point live outside of Boston. Very, very like a cup of coffee compared to the rest of my life. But yes, I did at one point.
You did.
So, yeah, I think that's going to do it.
It will. Guys, look out for us Friday night. We'll be back with our preview for the Rams Sunday night football matchup against the Detroit Lions. So be ready for that. Drops Friday night. We record it then as well. Until then, as always, if you like what you hear, please like and subscribe. You can follow Jake and I on X or Twitter, as we still call it.
Why do you keep calling it X now? What the hell?
Because I just hear more and more people calling it X, and I'm like, I need to,
Never doing that.
But it's at JK Bogan and at the Alexis Craft with a K. You can follow us on social media at Downtown Rams. We will be back soon, guys. But until then, as always, stay safe, take care, and go Rams.